Am I the asshole for blowing up at my mother-in-law at a family dinner? I, 23 female, have been married to my husband, 24 male, for 3 years. We were high school sweethearts and have been best friends since elementary school. He's still my best friend to this day. I've never had a great relationship with his mum. She's difficult to talk to, and our conversations are usually very shallow, gossiping about neighbors, complaining about landscapers, etc. Almost a year ago, my mum passed away, which still feels surreal to write. She truly was my soulmate, and I'm incredibly grateful to have had her in my life for 23 years. I miss her more than words can describe. My husband's family really stepped up during that time, and supporting us financially with funeral costs and managing affairs when I was deep in grief. I'm genuinely grateful for their help. Fast forward to now, we're expecting our first baby. As excited as I am, I'm also deeply saddened that my mum won't be here to guide me through this. We always talked about what my kids would call her. We settled on Grams. Now to the incident. We were celebrating our pregnancy at a dinner with my in-laws, and my mother-in-law asked to make a toast. She laughed and said, "I'm so grateful to celebrate a new addition to our family. We can't wait to meet little Veronica," which is her name. She went on to talk about her own pregnancy and what I should expect, mentioning that my husband had an abnormally big head when he was born. Then she said, "I look forward to being the favorite grandma to Veronica, since of course, I'll be the only grandma." The room went silent, and I started to cry. I stood up and told her how incredibly insensitive it was to say that, and that my mum would always be a grandmother, whether she's here or not. She responded by saying that I was overreacting and that it was just a joke. I told her to go to hell and left immediately. My husband later called me, saying he spoke to his mum, who was in tears because she was embarrassed. She asked him to apologize on her behalf, and he told me that I should have come back instead of telling her to go to hell and storming off. I'm currently staying with my sister, and I haven't stopped crying since. She supports me 100%, but I really want to know, am I the asshole? In the comments, Siren says, "Your mother-in-law said something severely inappropriate and insensitive. No person in their right mind would think what she said was okay, no matter how many years have passed since your mother's death. Hell, my grandmother passed away almost 10 years ago, and when my son was born 2 years ago, my mum and I talked a lot about how much we missed her and how we wished that she was here to see him. We still say this often when he's reached a milestone or we're just doing something we know that she would have enjoyed. It's natural to think about deceased relatives more at a time like this, and she says something as callous as that? Not the asshole. Speaking as a husband who has a mum like this, you need to seriously have a discussion with him about his mum's behavior. He has the power to change how his mother treats you, and it seems like he's okay with what she did, and expects you to apologize. I understand it's his mum, but he chose to live a life with you and start a family. That needs to be his priority, not mummy's feelings." I mean, I internally cringed when she said that. I know that it was a playful joke, but if she is going to think and say things like that, she should keep it to herself, and whoever it is that is in on that joke, what the hell is she doing saying this out loud? Obviously, that's not me condoning it, but people are gonna say crazy shit, so at least control yourself and don't say it in public. I'm not gonna police people's thoughts here, but you, OP, are still grieving your mum's death. You're still grieving her loss. To have the wound opened up in public like that is unacceptable. And anyone with a shred of empathy would have known that line about being the only grandma was beyond insensitive. Your husband needs to crack down on this. He needs to crack the whip on his mum. There needs to be repercussions for this one. She can't just get away with this and laugh it off, because if that happens, then it'll just happen again because she will justify these jokes in her own head. So I really hope he does. And now, onto the update. I just want to take a moment to thank you all for your support. Your comments and messages have been incredibly eye-opening. After staying with my sister for a few days, my husband came over. He said he understood why I was hurt, but he felt that I overreacted. He asked me to apologize to my mother-in-law to keep the peace, which felt like a betrayal. I had hoped that he would stand up for me. That night, my mother-in-law sent a long text doubling down on her joke and saying that my grief is becoming a burden on everyone. She told me that I need to seek professional help and move on, since it's been almost a year. I was devastated. I showed my husband, but he got angry at me for escalating things. He said I should make peace with her for our child's sake, and that he didn't want to be caught in the middle. Ooh, choosing sides, husband. Not a good idea. I've decided to take some space and stay with my sister. I'm really struggling to come to terms with this. This whole situation has made me question if my marriage is right for me and my baby. I need an environment where I feel respected and supported, and I don't feel that way right now. I told my husband that if he wants me back, he needs to show me he can stand up for me. I'm putting myself and my baby first. I don't know what will happen next, but I know I deserve better than this. My sister and I are currently turning her old office into a room, prepping for Rosie's, after my mum Rosa, arrival. I feel truly blessed to have her support. Thank you again for all of your support. It has meant more than you know. In the comments, LickTodd says, "A year is nothing for someone grieving, especially if it's their parents. I hope OP and her sister can support each other and that the husband steps up and not excuses mother-in-law's actions any longer. I luckily have my parents still, but I lost my best friend 3 years ago, and there are days that the grief is unbearable. I still talk about her all the time. If my partner's family told me to get over it, it was 3 years ago, my partner would lay the fuck into them. Why do so many guys have such a hard time standing up to their mother? I would have never spoken to her again. They're just very little men. Never truly cut the metaphorical umbilical cord. They suck." I get that mum-son relationships are different from person to person, but I know in my heart of hearts that I would stand up to my mum if she did some shit like this. She's not infallible. She is not some deity. She deserves to be punished for her actions just as much as anyone else does. Her being my mum does not give her the rights to disrespect me and my partner. No one gets that. And the fact that he is taking her side and says, "I don't want to be a middleman in all of this. You just need to apologize," shows that he is taking her side and he is too ashamed to admit that. He won't even say this to his pregnant wife. He won't say, "I'm siding with my mum. What are you going to do about it?" He is spitting in her face and lying to her, saying, "I just need you to apologize her, but I'm also not on anyone's side here. I'm an impartial middle grounder, but you need to apologize to her because you're in the wrong." Asshole. Complete asshole. I'm sorry you're going through that, OP. Good luck. Our next post is by user ThrowRA So Disgusted, and it's titled, "My 18 female, boyfriend and his friends 18 and 19 male, played a viciously cruel prank on an older couple who has lost their cat. Obviously I'm breaking up with him, but what else can I do to make this right? So I've been with my boyfriend for about a year. We are both honors students who are graduating in about a month. He's a good guy, and we were going to try to make it work, even though we're going to different out-of-state schools. However, he has a group of friends, and when he's with them, he does very stupid things. He was out with them last night, and he called me and told me he was at a Purple Heart Park if I wanted to come see them. I live about a block away in Rita, so I told my parents, and they were fine with me going. When I got there, they were rolling on the ground. They were laughing so hard. I asked them what was so funny, and they wouldn't say. Then one pointed to an older couple who was walking around with a flashlight, calling the obvious name of a pet. I couldn't figure out what was so funny about that, but as the couple came closer to us, they said that we needed to leave. When we got in my boyfriend's car, they absolutely lost it with laughter. I asked them what happened, and maybe 30 minutes prior, one of them had spotted a missing cat poster and called the number and lied and told the owner that they had spotted the cat in Purple Heart Park. I instantly knew the posters since one was on our mailbox and had been there for maybe 6 weeks. In Tucson, we know when a cat has gone that long, a coyote had gotten it. I wanted to throw up. This was so cruel to do to those poor people just to give them hope like that. I demanded to be taken home that second, and he did. I didn't say a word to any of them, and I hate that I even know this happened. I'm going to break up with him, but what can or should I do to make this up to the poor couple who was missing the cat? I'm devastated with guilt that I know something about it, but I don't know what I should do. I can't ask my parents because I'm afraid that my dad will actually beat the crap out of them and risk losing his job. He is such an animal lover. In the comments, to back you up, I can truthfully say that there is no way I would continue seeing someone who not only did something like this, but laughed and laughed about it afterwards. Disgusting. No wonder you're so upset. I feel bad for you, and I wish you and the cat owners all the best. What a cruel thing to do. To be clear, you don't need to do anything to make this right, as you were in no way involved. I don't think it was technically illegal, but very scummy. You could communicate with a couple on an anonymous phone call or letter, only if you want to, and tell them what happened. Or you could tell your social group why you dumped him and let it spread, though that could cause trouble for you in the long run. Whatever you do or don't do, I'm glad you aren't staying with someone like that. Best of luck. Yeah, I wouldn't stay with him either, and you're right to feel sickened and disgusted by what he's done here. That's just straight up animal cruelty. That's like giving me flashbacks from You Don't Mess with Cats. They know that people feel so strongly about cats, and messing with them is completely socially unacceptable, and I think that's why they're having such fun with this. But to not have the self-awareness that this is going to cause them major troubles down the line when it spreads is just so sad. Like, they don't even care to hide their stupid actions. And that is for the best in this instance. It's good that we can shame them. I think you just break up with him. I don't think there's need for any drama, because the fact of the matter is, you can't be with someone who finds hurting other people funny. It's just not okay. It is not a value that anyone should share with each other. And for the couple, I think the kindest thing you can do is just tell them the truth. That was a really cruel prank, quote unquote, that your boyfriend and his childish friends pulled, and that you're deeply sorry that this happened. You don't have to name names if you don't want to, but this is a situation where I do think closure on what happened there would help. I think that's the most compassionate thing to do. You've got a good heart, OP, and I hope you pull through. And now, onto the update. So basically, breaking up with my boyfriend was an easy decision, and I did it over text. He said that after a year, he deserved better than a text breakup. I said after what I saw him do on Saturday night, he really didn't. He tried to say that the prank was not his idea, and that I really needed to cut him some slack. I said that maybe it wasn't his idea, but I saw him laughing just as hard as his friends, and that was enough for me. He's been a total shit at school, but it's turning on him bad when I explain to people why we broke up and who he was with. A guy who graduated last year who is such a creep. What was harder is what I should do with the people. I had two choices as I saw it. Either not call them and let them have false hope that the cat was still alive, or call them and let them know that they had been pranked. Basically, after thinking about it all day, I decided that if it were my dogs in question, I'd want all the info I could get. I was so nervous calling them, but the lady answered, and I think I said I had some information about their lost cat. She basically stopped me and said that it was a miracle, but their cat had been turned into Pima County Animal Control 2 days prior, and they'd finally gotten a return on the chip, and they called them that very morning, and they had just gotten the cat home. I was so relieved because I didn't have to tell them some awful news about how my boyfriend was a piece of shit. I was also happy for her because she seemed so happy. I told her I was very happy her cat was home and said goodbye. So that's like really good news, and I'm happy to be rid of my idiot boyfriend. In the comments, Bronwen Noodle says, "Love the happy resolution here. Boyfriend is dumped, cat made it home, everyone gets what they deserve. Brought in the cat and took out the garbage." Call me stuck up and pessimistic, but anytime I hear the word prank, my stomach gets uneasy, and I'm sure it's going to be a vicious bullying incident. I have some friends who love pranks, but they're actual pranks. They're the people who taught me that a prank needs to have the target laughing as hard as the actual perpetrators. You can get away with pushing it if you really know the mark well, but lots of pranks are just funny. Even causing a momentary panic isn't usually good for that. Bafflement can be. Momentary bemusement at having incongruous things occur is a good start. Good pranks take thought and are hard. Ruining someone's day is easy, but it's not actually funny or fun. Damn, okay, Mr. Encyclopedia Britannica vocabulary. You might want to dumb down the English there a bit. Oh my god. I think you handled this one well, and I questioned at the end whether it was necessary or not to tell her that your boyfriend was pranking her anyway, but I guess not. If it is solved, if she has her cat, there is no need to be like, oh yeah, by the way, my boyfriend prank called you, he's an asshole. Let me just sour the mood a little, but also apologize on his behalf. I think we can skip that and not need to put her in that mental space. OP, you did the right thing by cutting him off and being willing to own up to what happened, even though it wasn't your fault. Thank God you got out of there clean. Take these lessons forward. Do not get with psychopaths that do pranks like this in the future. If you can, help it. We can't always choose how a person actually is on the inside. We can just date someone and hope for the best. I hope the next one is a good catch, though. Good luck, OP. Our next post is by a throwaway account, and it's titled, Found Boyfriend's Secret Twitter. I, 21 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 25 male, for about a year. A couple weeks ago, I glanced over at his phone and saw that he was on a Twitter account that I didn't know about. When I was alone, I looked up the Twitter handle and started reading through his tweets. I saw several tweets to other users giving them advice to cheat on their partners, sexual comments about 18-year-old P, degrading comments about women. Reading through the comments made me feel sick to my stomach. I feel disappointed and stupid because how he presented himself to me is not at all like the person who made those comments. I'm currently living with my parents, and my boyfriend and I have talked about moving in together. My parents' household is very toxic, and I feel desperate to move out. He also doesn't hesitate to take care of some of my finances as I'm disabled and can't work currently. I don't ask him for money, but he has offered to help out. We've had a rocky relationship from the start, but we both have strong feelings for each other. At least from what he's told me. I'm not sure about how to bring up the secret Twitter in the posts he's made, or if I should say anything about it at all. I feel like if I say anything, he'll just delete it and make a new one. I don't want to date someone who thinks about women the way that he does, but leaving him would mean that I would need to stay at my parents' house, and I would be financially struggling again. I also want to note that I'm not with him just for financial reasons. I love him and could see a future with him. There just seems to be so many red flags, and I'm worried that he's taking advantage of my naivety. How should I bring this up with him? Thank you for taking the time to read my post. In the comments, I guarantee you that his true colors will show once you are living together. And do you really want to be dependent on that person? OP says, that is my fear. I want to think that talking to him about it would change his mind, but I know I'm just in denial about it all. I don't want to be dependent on anyone. It's just challenging given my disability. Is it a kink thing? Wait, that's not better if he was looking at it next to you. OP says, I don't think he intended for me to see, as I had seen the phone as I was sitting down next to him and he quickly exited out. I actually have asked him if he had kinks, and he only responded with, what kind of question is that? He asked me if I would ever have a threesome with him and another female. I said I wouldn't be comfortable. I turned the question on him and asked how he would feel if he saw me with another man, and he said he would kill us both. When he saw that I was scared, he said he was just joking. Oh, that's a very normal response. Hey babe, how would you feel about a threesome? But I'll kill you. I'll kill you if we have the threesome. Just joking. I'm just joking. What a normal and well-adjusted guy. That's not a good joke. That is actually a threat and like a warning. I don't blame you for having a bad feeling in your gut, because now I have one too. And that is something to look out for. Sounds like a bit of a mask dropping moment. And that's not coming from someone that is safe or respectful. I understand that the situation with your parents makes this complicated, but stay there? Don't leave? You're going to put yourself in harm's way if you do that? Why would you want to be locked into dependency with someone who's already showing all these controlling, misogynistic, and aggressive behaviors? What would be the point of that? I think you need to start planning your exit. With friends, extended family, or disability support services, whatever it is that you have available, start now. And now, onto the update. Yesterday morning, I confronted my ex-boyfriend about the secret Twitter account that he's been using to make derogatory and inappropriate comments. My stomach was hurting, and my hands were shaking in anticipation for the conversation I was about to have with my boyfriend. I found out about this account almost 2 weeks ago, but I haven't said anything until yesterday. I knew once I brought it up, our relationship would be completely over. I've gone back and forth in my mind, deciding if it's worth bringing up, or if I should just move on and forget about it. Yesterday, I told him that I needed to talk, and I asked him to sit down on the couch. I said, "I've seen what you've been posting on Twitter." I made sure to keep my voice quiet and calm, since he had a tendency to become explosive whenever accusations were made against him. He responded with, "Okay. This is how you talk to people? This is what you think about others? What are you talking about? I've done nothing wrong. Show me what you're talking about." I get up and grab my phone to read off comments that I've screenshotted. In a comment to a 17-year-old girl who posted about feeling suicidal over being overweight and unattractive her whole life, he wrote, "Take your fat ass to the gym." Another person asked for advice on what to do, since his girl best friend who he was crushing on was going through a breakup. He said, "Just play the part, and soon your dick will be in her mouth. She's gonna need some dickin' to get through this." More concerning to me were the comments giving advice to cheat. To one man who was unhappy about his sex life with his wife, he said, "Start looking for a side piece. Shouldn't have to beg for head." Another comment to a man who wanted to grow his family, but his wife was hesitant, said, "Go make a second family in a foreign country. Spread your seed." Notable inappropriate comments. "Dick her down, get some head bro, hit that pussy and get a new bitch, make sure you bust the biggest nut on her face. Your parents don't want to think about you getting your pee ate. You probably got some good pee and they don't want him to have it all to himself." I mean, what the hell? I would never be involved with a man who talked this way. What's more concerning is wondering what else he's hiding, since he thinks it's totally okay to cheat if you're unhappy and not getting your way in a relationship. His response? That's not mine. I tell him that he used the same username that he had for his old Instagram. The area code is from the town that he grew up in, and he posts specific information that identifies him. He becomes enraged. "Why are you spying on me? Or trying to spy on me? Now you want to make up fake scenarios? Pull up your dating accounts. Show me your Twitter. Give me your phone." I said, "I knew you would act this way. I caught you making inappropriate comments, and instead of admitting it, you're lying to my face and now treating me as if I had done something wrong. This is so disappointing. The way you're acting online is not how you've presented yourself to me. I don't have a dating account, and I have nothing to hide on my phone. You're not going to turn this on me. This is not okay." I tell him all he has to do to prove that it's not his is open the Twitter app and show me that his account isn't on there. He refuses. He says, "I have nothing to prove to you, bitch. I don't need to show you my phone. What, now you want to start snooping through my phone?" At this point, my hands are shaking, and I'm so upset that it's hard for me to talk. He walks towards the door and says he's leaving. I stand in front of the door. He takes out his phone and starts taking a video of me. He says, "This is why I don't deal with white people. You're a Karen. I'm going to call the police because you're holding me hostage." He calls his mother, puts her on speakerphone, and says he is being held hostage. Then he pushes me aside, walks out the door and says, "Now I am safe." I said, "You acted exactly as I thought you would. You're a narcissist. Your behavior is disgusting. How can you stand there and lie to my face when I have proof in my hand? If this isn't yours, it's so easy to prove it isn't. You aren't smooth. He responds, I am smooth. I'm the man. I'm a king. You're a skanky-ass bitch. You're the biggest liar I've ever met. I went inside my house and he started banging on the door. I go downstairs to my room until he left. After an hour and a half, I counted 30 plus missed calls from him. I checked his Twitter and he posted, once a bitch, always a bitch. And I saw posts and comments had been deleted. I've tried breaking up with him in the past over unrelated things, and he ended up creating new phone numbers and emails so he could find a way to get the last word in. I expect that he'll beg for me to take him back and will say that he will change, that he's going to seek out counseling, etc. Today, he sent me $200 with a note saying, have a good weekend. Then he texted me saying he booked a trip for us to get out of town for the weekend. He will stop at nothing. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to take him back because I'm desperate to feel loved. I know that none of it is real. It hurts so bad to be betrayed by someone you trusted. I had an ex that behaved almost the exact same way. I don't want to attract these types of men. I think I'm going to make an appointment to see a counselor so I can work on being independent. I can't seem to find the love that I desire from men, so I hope that one day I may find it elsewhere. If you've taken the time to read, thank you. Moral of the story, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. In the comments, I'd recommend changing your phone numbers and/or getting a restraining order. OP says, I think I will change my phone number. Also, I looked up how to file a restraining order in my state. Listed under the requirements, it says the respondent must have physically injured you, or tried to physically injure you, or made you afraid that he or she was about to physically injure you, or made you have sexual relations against your wishes by using force or threats of force. Thankfully, he has never physically essayed me. Unfortunately, this means that I can't file a restraining order. I guess it wouldn't hurt to file one anyways for the sake of documentation. Just ignore him. I know it's difficult because of the harassment. OP says, I wish I could do that. I'm trying. He keeps using different numbers to message me. He texted me an hour ago saying, how can I prove that it's not my account? I haven't gotten over him in the past because he'll just keep reaching out. He will send me food, send me gifts until I end up meeting him to hear him out, and my gullible ass just goes back to spending time with him. I hate that I'm this way. None of this is right, OP. This is just bad news all around. Thank God that you got rid of him, but I hope that you're taking the advice from the comments on how to get rid of him from your life. It might just be a matter of continuously blocking him every time he reaches out to you, or just changing your number. I feel like that is a great start. Get friends and family around you to help you so you are not isolated, and maybe start with therapy if that's an option. Not because you did anything wrong, but because, maybe this is a good step to helping you rebuild trust in yourself and feeling safe. I think you're doing the brave thing by stepping out of it. You were even more brave by confronting him like you did. Good luck going forward, and I hope he leaves you alone. Thank you for the story. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.